Welcome everyone to the Pom and Fazz football show. This week sponsored by these cheeky little bad boys. Bit of a taste test for people at home. Tastes like ninth.
Failure. Failure in a can. Beautiful.
It tastes like the reasons that I drank when I was 18. Big shout out to Sam, who's just become a member of the channel. Michael Henriksen, how are you doing, my friend? And the legend that is Gox. And obviously, we're talking about the round ball this week, which is a nice change because obviously, aside from the drinks, there is no Carlton in the round ball, which is a nice place to be, isn't it?
Beautiful place to be. Beautiful place to be. And as we know, this is the #1 soccer football review show in Australia. So that is fact. So
and that's coming from a teacher, and teachers never lie.
I never lie. So yeah, excellent. So I'm glad everyone's tuning in. And Friday night, big night. So very excited to get a bit of review in with the round ball and mentioning as little as we can about the Blues.
Exactly, yeah. Carlton is the new Richmond, yeah. And the last team to have a beer was Richmond. So there you go. All right. And let's get straight into the recap.
Do you want to feel how it feels?
What a tune. We got beer music as well. We got beer music here.
Bangers.
And obviously we started. It was a topsy-turvy week in the hole, wasn't it? And we'll tell you more why, because if you did do fantasy or you tips like both me and Fazz do, an absolute shit show. But we started with a result that we did get right. Spurs didn't dominate, but you would say one of the more comprehensive 1-0 that you'll see.
Yeah. Look, got the job done. Wolves obviously went to White Hart Lane with not White Hart Lane. What do they call it these days? Tottenham Hotspur Stadium with a bit of a plan. The plan nearly came off. They defended well, but Harry Kane stood up as he has a couple of times this season and got the goal. And it was a real Conte type game. That 1-1. Tottenham are looking pretty good, sitting in equal second. And yeah, there's not really much to say about it. It was a real good Tottenham result. I think when they look back, they'll say, these types of 1-0 games is really going to make the difference between them possibly either competing for top 2 or just simply making Champions League. So yeah, good result for them.
It was one of them proper, like you say, Conte type games, wasn't it? Like the fact that it was, you look at the stat sheet and it was almost 50-50, but when you watch the game, it felt like Tottenham never really got out of second gear and they just cruised home. Kane took his goal very well, as they do, and it's like one of them 3 points in the bag games, isn't it?
Yeah. And look, the thing that really gets me about Tottenham at the moment is you look at their bench, and we always talk about Man City's bench, but you look at Tottenham's bench, and then Richarlison coming off the bench, Sessegnon, Bissouma, you had Lucas Moura on the bench. I mean, they've got a pretty deep squad, Tottenham. I think they can do some damage. I really do. They're quite an exciting team. Get that 3 points in the bag against a pretty strong Wolves team, and who knows? They got Nottingham Forest this week, and they can really start pushing, consolidating themselves in the top 4.
They've got a bit of depth. Spot on. And another side that is building quite nicely and probably surprising a few people, Palace. Big winners at the weekend, 3-1 against Villa. And always a shout when Mr. Zaha is in amongst the goals. Pretty even game. It probably flatters Palace, but Palace were ruthless, weren't they?
Well, look, I mean, Palace, they've had a really tough fixtures to start the season. Arsenal in week 1, and then Liverpool, which they got a really good result in week 2. But this was the win they had to have. It was the win they needed to get against Villa at home. Is there a question for you? Is there a more important player, one player to a club, than what Zaha is to Crystal Palace? I actually I don't think there is. I think he is the most important player singularly to a club. Without him, they're relegation fodder. With him, they could be mid-table. That's how good he is.
Yeah, and I think Michael, James is right. I'd say Mane, based on how Liverpool are playing, probably very important.
Oh, yeah.
But I love this comment. Vieira, he's really got the best out of Wilfried Zaha, hasn't he? I mean, I would say one of my questions with Zaha is he seems to go anonymous at large periods of time, but since Vieira's come in, he really looks like the guy he was destined to be. That made United spend big to go and get him.
Yeah, definitely. And I think he's only just going to consolidate himself this season. I think we can talk about Palace, and it is important to praise Palace and what they've done and what they're doing. But another disappointing performance from Villa side. I thought they might have turned the corner a little bit last week, but in hindsight, beating Everton 2-1, probably not the greatest of results. Another disappointing performance from Villa. I'm not too sure about them. I've got a bit of a question mark against them at the moment.
It was a typical Steven Gerrard game. Do you know what I mean? That they defended. I was going to say defended like Badgers. Did Badgers defend? Maybe. We'll go with it. But it was a very resolute defensive effort with 3 really well-taken goals. But they did create chances at the other end. And this is a thing with Rangers is Villa and Rangers is Gerrard. When Gerrard doesn't get the conversion and they don't get as clear-cut chances, they do struggle, and they conceded almost straight after the goal, and it was a very good goal. But that is Rangers under Gerrard. If you get the lead and you give it up very quickly, you're in for a long day. He seems to like to stagnate for like 10 or 20 minutes and kill the game off.
Yeah, and I think it's they're going to have to find something. They have to find something. There is an absolute monstrous clash coming up this weekend for Aston Villa against West Ham, who we'll get to them later. But they've got to find something. They're a concern for me. I think they got the goal early, but as you said, they conceded straight away. So.
A lot of questions. A lot of questions. We'll get on to who's top of the league. We're only 2 games away, mate. Everton won and Forest won. This was a proper relegation battle, wasn't it? It was 2 sides that didn't want to lose. They did sneak the lead, and at the death, Demarai Gray getting the point. Dean Henderson again, man of the match. Deserved probably the 3 points, Dean Henderson's performance, but this was a proper bottom-of-the-table clash, wasn't it?
Look, this game, as a West Ham fan, this game excited me because I saw 2 shit teams who are really going to struggle. As the year gets hot, as the year goes deep, I believe these 2 teams are really going to struggle. Everton, so lucky to be able to nick that point, which says a lot about them. If you had to give me a choice of who I would prefer out of Everton and Forest, I'm taking Forest 100 times out of 100. Everton stress me out. They're just a horrendously run football club. Their team is just, there's not one exciting. Demarai Gray, I'll pay that as an exciting player, but they just are worrying. Forest going 1-0 up in the 80th minute. You really want to hold on. What a 3 points that would have been if they were able to hold on, especially against Everton. They couldn't. Write this down. Day 3. Could this be a game that comes back and haunts Forest later on in the season if they needed to go down by a point or a goal difference or whatever? Because this is a game. Everton, every team playing against Everton will be saying, that's 3 points. We need 3 points. Because in my opinion, 3 weeks in, Everton are the worst team in the league.
They do look devoid, don't they? They haven't really replaced it. We've got Anthony Gordon's leaving as well, so they're losing young players who you would say Anthony Gordon would be a walk-up start for that side, and it looks like he's got not much time to replace it. Maybe if you're the chairman of that club as well, January might be a whole time of trying to build with the championship in mind as well, and championship players will come if they've got any sense. But it looks like it's going to be a long, hard season. I'll be surprised if Lampard's there by Christmas.
Yeah, no, me too. And yeah, look, smart clubs who know they're going to go down, or they spend smart in January. They don't spend stupid. And it sounds crazy. I mean, it's not even the end of August. But Everton worry me that they're a real watch this space with them. Huge game against Brighton coming up, so we'll I can't see it for them at the moment.
It's going to be a long, hard season, and then a team that we've talked about a lot on this show, and particularly one guy called Mitrovic who got the winner. Fulham 3-2 against the conquerors of Manchester, Brentford, and this was really one of them games that made me look at Fulham and just get kind of excited because that team isn't crash hot, but they are playing like warriors, aren't they?
Belief. It does a wonderful thing for you. I've already got in contact with our Fulham connections and saying we want a little bit of a cut from Mitrovic's fees, considering we resurrected his career. Let's be serious. Anyone who wants to go back and watch the season preview, Pommy and I have literally resurrected Mitrovic's career. So you're welcome, all you Fulham fans. We'll be cashing in that check later. But I look at Fulham and belief. Oh my goodness! I know I've been pretty harsh on a couple of teams 3 games in, so I don't want to sound negative here. They're 5 points, 3 games in, unbeaten. I still don't know if they're going to be able to keep going when it gets hot. I look at their squad and it doesn't excite me. I really fear for them that they're going to jump out of the blocks as they have and get a really good start, which is going to make the fall all that more painful. But hey, look, I'm happy to be proven wrong. Keep getting points. Keep doing what you do. Bloody hell, they got Arsenal next week. If they can get a draw against them, then I'll start saying, holy shit, all right, they're legit. But yeah, I think their defense still worries me a little bit. We'll see. I'm very excited by Fulham. Brentford just doing Brentford things. Beat United, lose to Fulham. They'll be around that mark, that mid-table to lower table mark, and yeah.
What you've just said about Fulham brought a tear to my eyes. What you're saying is start strong, may fall short at the last hurdle.
Oh, yeah.
That's the beer talking, mate. Unbreak my heart. And then we went to a cracking game, this one. I really enjoyed this one. Leicester, Southampton. Che Adams finally coming alive and showing the world why he is probably one of the best English-born Scottish internationals the world has ever seen. 2-1. It was an absolute belting game. And Southampton, I know you don't like them. We know I've got a bit of a soft spot for them. They just keep bringing it.
All right. Look, every week I'm probably going to write off someone every week, which is what I do. It's how I roll. But I'm going to go ding, 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 ding. Alarm bells. Fazz's alarm bells. Leicester City. Oh my goodness. Brendan Rodgers, Leicester City. Big trouble. Big trouble. From what I saw from them, drawing at Brentford day one, they absolutely got destroyed by Arsenal. I don't care what anyone says. Yes, they scored 2, but Arsenal destroyed. And this game, oh my goodness, big trouble for me for Leicester. They're not going to get relegated or anything like that. But this is what we spoke about in the preview. What do they want to be? Are they happy? You look at Leicester and you think, yes, they won the league, 6 years ago. They need to consolidate in that top 7. They can't be floating around this 10th, 11th, 12th. And the way they've started, big trouble, huge trouble. But as far as Southampton go, look, I'll hold my hand up. I've still got Southampton down as a team who I think will get relegated. but it's a monster win for them. I mean, that's a monster win. Leicester away, Shea Adams. If you're going to be relying on him scoring your 2 goals every week, you're in trouble. But good on him. Good on him, and good on Southampton. Look, I like them. I like the way they play. I just don't think they've got enough. Ward-Prowse excites me. But Leicester, trouble.
It's going to be interesting as well. Like Adrian says here, Fofana, and like Michael says, they haven't bought anyone. You'd expect if they... I mean, this is why I find it weird Leicester are digging their heels in. I mean, 75 to 80 million is the quoted fee that Chelsea are willing to pay. That's, in my opinion, 40 million too expensive for Fofana. But that could literally put them back in, get some decent personnel in. You're looking at your team, West Ham. They've bought quite shrewdly over the last couple of weeks. Nottingham Forest are adding in as well. A lot of deals to be done, particularly with sides now that have missed. I think PSV would be one of the places that a lot of Premier League clubs will go to now they've missed Champions League finals because they got knocked out by a superior side. Surely Leicester have got to spend some of that Fofana cash.
They have to. They simply have to. And you mentioned West Ham before about their shrewd signings, and we'll get to them later on. Obviously, they're sitting on the bottom, West Ham, but I don't think it's doom and gloom at the moment for them. But I worry about Leicester. I really do. I think they're a type of team. Yes, they won the league 6 years ago, but if they were to go down, they could be a team that you might not see for a long time. So they've got to get their shit together.
Mate, I'm with you. A question here from Rio. Who's better, Messi or Ronaldo?
Ronaldo.
Really?
Yeah.
I'm going to go Messi, all-round player.
Yeah.
All-round player.
Look,
but when Ronaldo signs at Ibrox, because we're in Champions League football on loan, Ronaldo.
Look, this conversation, I just can't escape the fact I still think the Premier League is the toughest league in the world. And Ronaldo did it here and did it easily. That's all. I think if Messi came here, he'd be able to do it as well. But I just can't escape I love Lionel Messi. He in fact, he's my favorite player of all time. But if you're asking me, this is a Premier League review show. Premier League's the best league in the world. I would have loved Messi to have come over here because I reckon he would take the piss over here. But that's all hypothetical. And Ronaldo did it and took the piss. So
and still doing it at 38, 39.
Yeah. So that's
Do you know what I mean? Big sayafs in chat. And then we get on to Arsenal, who just continue to impress me every week. And Odegaard has really revolutionised that team as well since taking over the captaincy. He looks like Captain Fantastic. That midfield for me, playing Xhaka and Partey, just protecting that back four just is tasty. It's all coming together. The man with a plan, Arteta, he's been backed in by the owners. And honestly, every time I watch Arsenal, I'm not saying that they're as good as the Invincible year, but I get smells of the Invincible year, of the early years, of where you can see what they're building. You can see they all believe. They're a very young side as well, incredibly young. And I think if they stay fit, I reckon the title will be decided in that Man City game.
Wow. I love Arsenal. I love everything they're doing. I cannot praise them enough. This is going to be huge as a West Ham fan and that London rivalry. Although Arsenal, West Ham aren't really rivals. I know we London and all that, but I love watching them. To me, it's refreshing. It's fresh. I'm sick of seeing Liverpool. I'm sick of seeing Man City. Arsenal is fresh. They're good to see. Young team, young manager. One thing I will say, and anyone can snip this, we're 20 minutes in, so snip this. I'm going to make a bold prediction. And I'm going to use this whilst I make the bold prediction. Arsenal will be like Carlton this season. I think they'll fall away. I think they will. I love what they're doing, but I think they'll fall away.
Really?
I do.
I look at their squad. I think they've got depth there. I mean, they're not playing Smith Rowe, who was probably their best player last year. Tierney, if he stays fit, on the bench. We haven't seen a lot of Fabio Vieira, but we've seen snippets of what he can do. I think they've got strong players in Lagonga and Eddie there as the forward backup. I reckon they've got everything. Like
I love it.
think,
I agree. I love every bit about them, but a young team, I just worry about a young team. The one thing I will say, the one caveat that I'll take this back from is the break for the World Cup will do a team like Arsenal the world of good. Because with a young team, when you're playing those real hard fixtures around Christmas time, that's where you drop your points. But having that break, that big World Cup break, I think will do absolute wonders for Arsenal. So I will take that. I'll take that caveat away. But I just think it won't take much for it to go pear-shaped for Arsenal. I think 1 or 2 injuries, and I think it could get a bit. Yeah, Michael just said it then. 1 or 2 injuries, I think it could get a bit hairy for him. But at the moment, hey, don't let me be the asshole that drags us down. I fucking love it. I love what they're doing. I'm watching every one of their games. They're exciting to watch, and I'll continue to watch their games. But let's just wait.
I think it'll be interesting. I think I've got a sneaky feeling that I said it at the start of the year they'll be top 3. I think they'll be top 3. I think, but at the moment,
Yeah, I agree.
They are head and shoulders above the rest at the moment, and
Love
long may he continue. I'm a big fan of Arteta, and
it's fresh. It's fresh, Pommy. I love it. It's something different.
Arsenal are the side that need to be at the top of the table. Do you know what I mean?
Agreed.
They're a Premiership darling, let's be honest. And then we go to a team where I've got to say, I find it hard to like to shout. So seeing him in pain just turned me on a little bit. And Leeds United, I watched this game and I didn't quite believe what I was seeing. I've got to be honest, because I think it was one of the most massive eye-openers for where Chelsea are. And it kind of made me envy Pep, because Pep played the same formation without a key striker for the entire year and won the league. And you saw Chelsea have no outlet.
Yeah,
and they got picked apart by Leeds.
I wish I had saved my alarm bells. I wish I didn't go early with Leicester. So I'll save my alarm bells for the moment. But Chelsea, my God, we'll talk about them a bit later. They're coming up. But it was diabolical. They've been diabolical, Chelsea. I mean, I made the outlandish statement a couple of weeks ago where I said Tottenham will beat them 6-0 at home, and obviously that didn't happen. But I just think they've been a piss take, Chelsea. I don't rate them. I don't rate. And look, I won't go into depth because we're going to get in later. But just nah, not for me. Leeds. I mean, you can talk about did they play well, what did they do, and all that. But I mean, they were gifted. They were gifted goals, you know. And the mighty Hibs boys said it. Chelsea made Leeds look elite. They made them look elite. But yeah, we'll talk about them later. But it was a disgusting. Yeah,
it was a crazy game, and like I said at the top there, just no strikers. Playing Sterling, and they played Kai Havertz in the central position.
I don't get it.
Barmy,
I don't
and
get
the
it.
fact that they're haggling. Do you know what I mean? They're haggling for value on Mr. ARBOR from Barca. Just it's beyond me, because you've got to call him, haven't you? You've got to call him in.
Oh, you just got to get it done. Get it done, because they're going to have a wasted season if they don't bring a striker in. They're going to have a wasted season. But anyway.
They're in for the long haul. And then we went to your boys, and I did feel for you this night, because this was obviously the night of Carlton going down.
Oh.
And you faced Brighton, and unfortunately, the man that you want to replace, David Moyes, gave a bit of a masterclass, didn't he?
Death, taxes, and Brighton beating West Ham. It's fact. It's absolutely. We haven't beaten West Ham haven't beaten Brighton in the Premier League era. So I expected this result. I tipped this result. If you go back and look at the last week's show, I tipped a Brighton victory. I said 3-1. They won 2-0. It was It was a piss take. It was a piss take. West Ham were fucking diabolical. They were garbage from start to finish. Their new centre back made the most ridiculous tackle you've seen for a penalty. It was just horrible. And what's frustrating me the most, and all West Ham fans who are listening will probably agree with me, is I'm feeling like the team we rolled out with against fucking Viborg or whatever, Cyborg from Denmark last night or this morning is the team we should be rolling out in the Premier League. But we're not. We've got it the wrong way around. Scamacca should be starting on up front. We should be starting Cornet. We should be starting Ogbonna in defence. Antonio at the front is not the man. He's not the man. He's finished. Bowen doesn't want to be there. You've got to get him off and say, pull your head in or leave, sort his shit out. Get Ben Rama on. Obviously, Declan Rice didn't play this morning, but he's got to pull his finger out as well. This was a piece of shit, this game from West Ham. And I tell you what, they got Villa next week. And I'm going to say this right now, snippet, 26 minutes, 27 minutes. If West Ham do not get 3 points against Aston Villa, David Moyes needs to be sacked. Simple as that, because he's fucked it up. He's got it all wrong. He's making signings and not playing him. He's doing all this stuff. He needs to get 3 points against Villa. I don't care what anyone says. This is, and we'll get to it when we go to the preview or whatever, but it's the biggest game in West Ham since their playoff final, because they're fucked at the moment.
Dalsky wants rid of Steven Gerrard, who himself is having a few issues. And tell you what, that could be the game that maybe starts the sharpening of the knives.
Well, the biggest problem for me, Pommy, is that West Ham have just qualified for the Europa Conference League. Fantastic. People can shit can that league all they want. I'm excited because it's another year of European tours, right? Which West Ham don't ever have. So I'm excited by it. But it's hard to get excited when you're sitting dead fucking last on the table, haven't scored a goal in the Premier League. You're shitting goal. Like, we have goals. I mean, I looked at that bench, right? I looked at the bench that when we started against Brighton. You've got Scamacca on the bench. You've got Lanzini. You've got Cornet, all on the bench. Why aren't they playing? I don't get it. I just don't get it. I'd love to get David Moyes on and have a chat to him and say, why? Why against Brighton aren't you playing these guys? If he rolls out with the same fucking 11 against Aston Villa next week, I'll be so angry, because seriously, you saw it last night. Anyone who watched the West Ham, check the highlights. It's on Stan. Check the highlights of West Ham this 3 a.m. this morning against, I know it was a shit team from Denmark, but the passage of plays they were playing, the runs that Scamacca was making, the ball that Cornet was putting through, you've got to play them. You've signed these guys. Don't look at me, David Moyes, and say they're not ready for the Premier League. Cornet played for fucking Burnley last season. How can you say he's not ready for the Premier League? Start him. For God's sake.
He is something different as well for you as well, because he's got that turn of pace. I mean, potentially, watching how West Ham play, you play Cornet and you play Bowen. You've got two guys that love to overlap.
And I feel bad. I feel sick, because David Moyes is the best manager West Ham's had almost in my time, right? I don't think he's going to get the sack. They'd be crazy to sack him. I'm just emotionally passionate because, yes, you said Carlton fucked up Sunday. West Ham fucked up Sunday night. And I'm just like, I was in a world of hurt. And I just wanted to kill someone. Like, come on. I wanted to get on the phone and be like, Moyes, what are you doing? I like this idea. Full circle back. I don't think West Ham will get rid of Moyes, but he needs to pull his finger out. Who gets sacked first? Steve Lampard. He's already half sacked. Don't worry about that.
I think, I mean, we hope it gets better. Obviously,
anyway,
got Villa this weekend, and I agree with you. I think when I know Serie A strikers traditionally don't hit the ground running in the Premier League, but you look at Scamacca, you look at what he did in the Serie A, you look at how he played, big-bodied as well, uses his pace, he's strong, he likes to cut inside. I personally, when I look at him play, think he's as close as you can be to be a Premier League striker as an Italian. Yeah,
and you just got to give him a go. Like, when you're 3 games in and haven't scored a goal, and I know against Nottingham Forest, West Ham probably should have scored 4 or 5 goals. But when you're 3 games in and haven't scored a goal, if you're rolling with the same front 3, you're in trouble. So that's all. Anyway, Move on.
Mate, it's gonna be interesting, and
Huge.
everyone's with you, Fazz. We're all with you. It was a tough week, and then we come to the penultimate game, which the Arab Derby we called it, and what an absolute rip snorter this game was.
This. What a game! This was the game of the round, in my opinion. Maybe a sign of things to come. Maybe this is just a little bit of a taste of what we're going to be dealing with for the next 5 to 10 years. Credit where credit's due. I think Newcastle played a phenomenal game of football. I think they attacked when they needed to attack. They defended when they needed to defend. They scored some goals. Every week I'm slagging off Callum Wilson, and every week he seems to be scoring. So okay, fair credit. I still don't think that he's going to be a top 6 striker, but hey, mate, he scored against Man City. Proved me wrong. But what do you say? I mean, you can look at it two ways. I look at it, Man City had an off day, but they did enough to get in and get an away point. I think that's fine. That's fine. You can't expect them to win every game every week. They had an off game. They did enough to get an away point. They probably did enough to win the game, to be fair. Man City, like they towards the end, they certainly dominated it. But Newcastle, what a valuable point for them.
Well, and as Adrian says here, spot on. Saint Maximin, he was another level, and definitely someone who you watch Saint Maximin a lot. He's the most frustrating footballer in the world, isn't he? Because he's capable of tearing apart. He made particularly that second goal where he turned Cancelo inside out.
Oh.
Cancelo went and bought a hot dog in Rosette. And you kind of think to yourself all of a sudden, Jesus. And then he went down on the left-hand side and he faced Man City's legend, that is Kyle Walker, who last year didn't get beaten by anyone one-on-one. And he's giving him trouble. And you're thinking to yourself, Jesus, if they can get the best out of Saint Maximin, they're fine. And I think when you watch that game, that is a typical. Last year, we were hot on Eddie Howe. And I remember saying that that's someone that I think is very underrated. That was an Eddie Howe game, because I think he's shown the top clubs that if you take chances and you go and you don't blow caution to the wind, you can really maybe unsettle Man City's rhythm.
No, I agree. I think it was a great coaching performance. I think with Saint Maximin, he's like a good version of Adama Traore. Do you know what I mean? Like he's just a good version of him, where pace, skill, finishing, where Adama Traore doesn't have the skill or the finishing. He's just got the pace. But he stresses me out whenever West Ham play. And I think, great performance. And look, they're building nice in Newcastle. I think they've had a really solid start to the season. Some of these results, that Brighton draw that might be a good result as you see as it goes on. But I thought it was a tasty game. Before we get into the next one, I will just say I did love the absolute Twitter circus from Liverpool fans that said, City's dropped points, now's our chance. So, Pom, lead us into City dropped points, now it's Liverpool's chance. Lead us in, Pom.
Hey, I've got to say, before we open this, I was at a low ebb, right? And I tell you what, these boys impressed. United did the job. Even I thought this could get messy. The great Andy Tate, Man United folk hero, he said before the game it could get messy, but it was everything we expected of Erik ten Hag, bringing him in. When you watched Ajax, they were a very counter-pressing side, very, very intense press. They don't need lots of possession. They look for the overlap, and they absolutely came out of the blocks. And he said it himself at the end of the game, that not much has changed apart from desire. He made some big changes at the table as well. No Ronaldo, no Maguire. We're finally seeing the end of McFred. They even wheeled Casemiro out. I mean, it's a big thing. And when you think as well that it's been announced today that United have got next year's transfer budget to finish off this on the back of Ten Hag's guarantees of Champions League football, there is a glimpse there. The door is opened that maybe Ten Hag can turn this team around. But he needs what Arsenal have done with Arteta. He needs them to back him in because they're not going to be able to do this every week. But that for me is, please, owners, back this man in. Because I'll tell you what, that was sensational to watch. That was Fergie's United. Fucking backs against the wall, 2 counter-attack goals, peaches, Sancho's finish as well. How good was that? Stops, goes again, slots it home. Big goal, big game. It's great to see.
It was great, and ballsy changes, dropping the captain, doing what he did. Pommy, just a quick question for you. About 8 days ago, when we were sitting here and we were doing our tips for the following week, do you remember what I tipped for this game? Just out of curiosity.
You said we'd win, didn't you? 2-1.
Oh, I did. That's exactly what I said. I
Should've
did,
got
mate. I
that,
knew it. I knew United would get up this week. I just felt it. And I know it was hard for you to hear that because of everything gone through, but they just did what they do. And I think this, to me, this is one of the biggest and best rivalries in sport, United versus Liverpool. I knew United get up. I rate Ten Hag so highly. I just knew what we saw from the first 2 weeks was not him, was not what he was about. The fact that he dropped these players, unbelievable. Like, what a man. Mate, he's just gone and saying, look at these balls. Look at these balls, guys. They are bigger and better than yours. Look at my balls. Look at them. Bam, there they are. He is just a man. And I'm make a big call. He's gonna be one of the managers we'll remember for a long time.
Mate, I've always been a big fan. We've talked about him all last year as well, saying that it's a no-brainer, bring him in. Tell you, that was
special.
That made me think of the old days.
It was special. I mean?
The old days.
Well, so now the question is, and I know it's exciting because, United, we obviously want to talk about United because United fan, we love them. But Liverpool, am I ready to do a preemptive alarm bell? I don't know. We'll just wait and see. Maybe, they've been shit.
I don't want to stick the knife in, but I always say you can find out the Premier League is a very good place. You can kind of know when a team is in shit. And in the last 2 weeks, Klopp has complained about the grass, the barometer readings around Anfield.
And he complained about something? Yeah. Do
you know what I mean? He's complained about times of kickoff, travel arrangements. Do you know what I mean? He's starting to slowly. That is when you know, particularly when coaches start picking up little weird shit, that it's not fun and games and he's feeling the pressure. And at the start of the show, someone said, no, Mane. I think that's a huge loss for them because suddenly, and United did it, they dealt with Salah very well. And the threat wasn't good enough from the other side.
No, you're right. And once again, I don't want to turn this into a Fazz philosophy or whatever. But go back to the preview, and I said the same thing. I said I am not confident in Liverpool simply because they've lost Mane. He was the most underrated footballer in the Premier League, and what he did for that club. So look, I'm sure they can turn it around. I'm sure they will turn it around. But at the moment, seeing the way Klopp is talking. Danger. And what they've got Bournemouth next week.
Danger game.
Right. I love a danger game. Anything other than 3 points this weekend. And if it's not 3 points, I'll be ringing the alarm bell. Ding, 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 ding. Because they're,
We'll look forward to that as always. But we have got our favourite time now. Fazz has questions, and we'll find out who Fazz is questioning this week.
It doesn't hurt me. Do you want to feel how it feels? Do you want to know?
That remix makes me so happy, and you brought a player that probably is my fault he's here.
I just look for those of people who've been following for quite a while and all that. We should get it snipped. We should get it. Go back and find it and snip where you, Pommy, called Mendy. What did you say? What were your exact words? The best keeper in the world, or something like that?
Yeah, he's up there with the best keepers in the world. Underrated.
And he proceeded to have one of the worst games of all time. And this is last season. And I can categorically say he didn't do anything that game remotely as bad as what he did in this Leeds game. This was diabolical. And look, my who's in my gun, he's obviously in my gun. But as a collective Chelsea, Tuchel is a defensive-minded manager. I criticised him 2 weeks ago because he played 6 or 7 defensive-minded players on the field, right? You played a defensive-minded game and conceded 3 goals against Leeds. You haven't scored against a team who, in my opinion, Leeds are literally the worst defensive team in the competition. I mean, they concede goals for fun, Leeds. And Chelsea, you couldn't even score against them. So my thing is, yes, Mendy, what an absolute piss take of what he did. But Chelsea as a collective, if you want to play a defensive-minded game, that's fine, Tuchel. Good luck. But you're going to find yourself out of a job very, very quickly. Because a team like Chelsea cannot play a defensive-minded game and concede 3 goals against fucking Leeds.
Couldn't agree more. And I think it's weird that, the players they've been linked with outside of strikers are all more CDMs. Like a good mate of mine's worried about De Jong and going, oh my God, Chelsea are after him. And I'm like, why would Chelsea buy it? Like, what, another, a Chelsea St Kilda just buying the same types of players over and over and over again? Like, he is the antichrist of what they want.
Oh,
so
dear.
It's a weird thing, and I know that the new owners are in there, and as always with football, it takes a while for the new owners to get their feet under the table and really understand. But I'm trying to struggle what Tuchel is wanting, because he's had budget and he's got money, but it seems the signings and what they've recruited are the last things they need.
Yeah, look, I mean, we spoke about in our season preview, we spoke about Sterling being a really good signing for them, and I still believe he is. He's a magnificent signing, Premier League experience, trophies, all that. The fact that they're still rolling around without a striker fucking blows my mind. It blows my mind. How can you be rolling around without a striker? I mean, get someone. Get anyone. I mean, look at West Ham. We've got Scamacca on the bench. I mean, he would be much better playing up front for Chelsea than Havertz and Sterling. I just don't get it.
Mate, I love this. Poor man's Roberto Di Matteo. At the moment, what is weird, and I don't know, Adrian, if there's any Chelsea fans in the audience, but he reminds me very much of why he fucked up at Paris Saint-Germain.
Yeah.
That it was the initial vigor of when he was in there. But once he started to have a budget, bring his own players in, put his own stamp of the team, it went tits up very quickly. He lost the dressing room and he was out there quite quick. And it seems to be happening again, because these signings, like I say, Sterling, a great signing, but you were just waiting for the number 9 to come in. You were just waiting for it. It was like, right, they've got Sterling across. They'll throw a striker in now alongside him. Novice service will be removed. But then they've gone on this 2-week tangent on Fofana, which is the most United thing to do. Identify what you need and then spend 6 weeks on a cunt you don't need. That is straight out of the United transfer model. So I understand what Chelsea are doing from a United perspective, but what is going on?
Yeah, no, like I said, my alarm bells going off for them, and we'll just see. We'll just see what happens with them. But look, I always try my hardest to make sure I'm impartial and all that. I am wearing a West Ham hat. I'd be lying if I said I wasn't happy about it. So, yeah. And
I've got to say,
I consider myself to
hard to like.
Yeah, I consider myself to be a more honest person rather than an impartial person. So to be honest, great.
Mate,
but yeah.
I think the only thing they can do, and Mighty Hibs agree with me, is get Martin Boyle from Hibernian. I mean, that's the man. That's the man they want. Yeah, Mike, it looks like he's going there, but I mean, that you know, I don't know if there's any Chelsea fans in chat, but Memphis Depay this morning been announced that Juventus have pulled out of the deal because the greatest Juventus story ever, the sporting director mismanaged the last two signings and didn't realise there'd be a signing on fee, so they can't actually afford it, which after Barca have cancelled his contracts is brilliant. I think Depay would be something I'd go for if I'm Chelsea.
Huge.
He's quick, he's easy, get him in.
Yep. Love it.
I agree, Bruno. He's never going to win that. Good evening, Chris. You know what I mean? I wish Conte had stuck a leg out. I'm not going to lie. Being a Pom, if you're German, I find it hard to like you. I'm going to be totally honest. You know what I mean?
I love it.
It's a lie. But then we come up to Under Pressure with me, and we'll have a look who I have picked out.
It doesn't hurt me. Do you want to feel how it feels? Do you want to know?
Do you know what I mean? Everton.
Jeez.
Everton, and these are a side that I'm just watching, and they give me Ipswich vibes when they went down, when it's kind of over very quickly. Very like Ipswich, who had that year that finished top 10 and then they just forgot how to play football. And it was a bit like Ipswich. They lost some of the players that performed well last year and kept them up. But then they've lost them players. And what have they brought in? Like, that's what I can't understand with Everton. I would say Everton is still a good, beautiful British football club. But no one wants to go there. And I'm looking at other clubs and I'm looking at the wonderful signings Forest have made. I'm looking at the great signings that, even West Ham have started to bring in. Yeah. And I'm thinking Dwight McNeil, Connor Cody, and Tarkowski, they're two bigger ones. They have signed Anoa as well, who, for me, it's still a wait and see. But they are the safest selection, like weird signings that really screamed, we're getting relegated.
Yeah, I mean, I liken their signings to a team who has been promoted. Do you know what I mean? Like, you get promoted and you try and sign safe signings, like you say, like Tarkowski and Cody, like that screams of we don't want to go down, so we'll sign two strong centre backs. But they're not sexy centre backs. Do you know what I mean? Like, it's when West Ham got promoted, they signed James Collins. That's it reeks of that, and it's dangerous. What I will say is I can't let it go any further without mentioning this. So you're under pressure with Pom is Everton. That's pretty low hanging fruit there, Pom. I'll just say.
But what?
But what do you do? Yeah.
No, but I just think that you've got to start talking about it. I mean, when I did this, I did a bit of research, and Kevin Thelwell, their sporting director, came out just after they got Anoa in, right? And confirmed that they've still got 20 to 40 million in the coffers. Do you know what I mean? That they haven't actually broken into the Richarlison deal. And I think to myself, fuck, like, Dele Alli, he's off to Beşiktaş, like everyone's saying in the chat. Very weird. Do you know what I mean? But you're looking at that side, and like Mighty Hibbs said, they need a striker ASAP. And who are they linked with? Like, it's weird that no other club has not been linked with anyone, but Everton just don't seem to be linked.
They're just a nothing team. Pom. They're just a nothing team. I don't even like when their games are on. I'm like, oh, Everton's playing. Okay, well that's a big difference to what it used to be like. Do you know what I mean? Like it's just they're just a nothing. If they went down to, like if they got relegated this season, would you be going into next season saying, "Oh, geez, it's going to be different without Everton here"? I don't know if you would. I mean, we know they're a proud big club, but they're a nothing team at the moment. Yeah.
I mean, this is an interesting one as well because this was on Sky Sports the other day, right? Their investment versus Liverpool is almost the same when you actually look at what they've brought in over the last decade. And that worries me because you look at that side, it doesn't scream investment, does it? And then I look at some of the signings, like I look at that Awumani at Nottingham who gave you guys trouble. 17 million from Union Berlin. They've needed a striker since then. You can't tell me that if they'd gone in for a player of that ilk, he would have chosen Forest over Everton.
Yeah, and I mean they spent that Onana. They spent big money on him, but he's a watch this space. And I think West Ham were linked to him, and West Ham pulled out, and he's gone to Everton. And a lot of Everton fans, got in contact with me actually and said, "Oh, the big dub for Everton. We got a signing over here." I'm like, behave. Like seriously, if West Ham really wanted him, why would he go there? They're such a weird team. I don't know. And I agree with what Gok said there. They are a big, important, traditional club, but so were Nottingham when they went down. So were Leeds when they went down. Squeaky bum time for teams like Everton and Leicester, as I said. If they find their way down, I'm not sure they'll come back up straight away.
You know what? I said it to you last week, and going back to someone's comment earlier, that when I asked you the question, do you think David Moyes is one of them managers that can stabilise and get a club in a really good position, but then it requires someone else to come in with fresh ideas? But Moyes is that great guy to stabilise you, hem the bleeding, make you a tough outfit. But has he not got the skill set to go the next level? And someone mentioned David Moyes. I would say, if I was an Everton fan, Moyes would be the perfect guy because he's going to bring players into that club. He's going to sharpen them up. He's going to make them be that side. We know what Everton are. They're always a tough place to go. 3 points at Goodison is a tough place to go and get them. They have been a tough side for probably 10, 15, 20 years in the Premier League.
Yeah. No, I
Not
agree.
had the success, but tough. I think Moyes might be the guy. If I was them, I'd be like, well, Moyes 2 or 3 years, get us back to that mid-table, and then maybe look at doing what the other clubs are doing once we're stabilised, moving him on and bringing in a new player.
Yeah, and I love it. I think that's a great point.
Mate, it'll be interesting. Yeah, I mean, obviously the Thai owners and the Leicester owners, they have been shrewd. We know their economy's down. That's a good point, Michael. But I mean, Everton have made a lot from their sales this year. Do you know what I mean? It should be like I agree with Gary Neville here. It shouldn't be your money you invest into the club. Once you've got a good footing, you should be running it off a plus cash plus minus. So
yeah.
Interesting little thing. But let's have a look. We've got some positives to end with. What's caught Fazz's eye this week?
It doesn't hurt me. Do you want to feel how it feels? Do you want to know?
Bum, bum, bum.
Yeah, look, what's caught my eye, it's a pretty quick one because I spoke about it earlier, but Fulham and belief and what belief can do. I was super impressed. I still think the best game they played was the first game against Liverpool, to be honest. But the unbeaten after 3, they couldn't have begged for a better start. To nick that point against Liverpool, obviously a huge win this week against Brentford, and then what was it? Oh yeah, the draw against Wolves. But they've caught my eye because I like the way they play. They play with a bit of belief. Dare I say it, a little bit of that Collingwood type, if we're going to compare it to an AFL team that didn't really expect them to go well, but here they are, and they're just think about Leicester. By no means am I saying they're going to win or anything like that, but think about Leicester and what they spoke about when they won their league. And they were saying that what Ranieri said when he said, we just took it in blocks and, you got through here and then all of a sudden we believed we could do this. And by the time they got to Christmas and the New Year, they genuinely believed they couldn't get beaten. And I think Fulham, whilst that's a very long bow to draw, but their belief right now is seriously, it could take them anywhere. It could seriously take them anywhere. 3 games in, they've got a massive game against Arsenal away. If they can nick a point against Arsenal away at Emirates this weekend, I will go and say Fulham will survive. And I tipped them to finish dead last. And if they can nick a point this week, I'll say they'll survive because they have proven that they've got what it takes. They've got what it takes. Tough place to play.
Mate, that's what you've got doing it. If you want to survive in the EPL, if you can sneak your home games, you're fine. I mean, the mythical number is 40 points. Do you know what I mean? So they're at 5 now. Do you know what I mean? So, like, if you look at it that way, do you know what I mean? They've only got to do that, another 6 times?
Yeah. Yeah.
Do you know what I mean?
I'm with you. I'm with you. They're
plus 4 points ahead as well from expected goals. So they're already 4 points ahead. If they'd built a plan to survive, already a win and a bit away after 3 games. So do I think they'll do any? I think Arsenal might bring them back down to ground.
I agree. I agree on that. But you know what? I'm happy to ride the Fulham train for a few more days because I love it. I love an underdog. I know what it's like to support a team who's been newly promoted to the league. I know exactly what it's like, and everyone wants to kick you. Everyone wants you to go down, and I tipped Fulham to be on the bottom. And I tell you what, I'd never be happier to be wrong if they were to achieve something this season.
Mate, and I agree with Gox here. 2004, how long ago was that? That was a long time ago. I went to Craven Cottage. We went to go and see Fulham play Rangers in a friendly. I tell you what, he's spot on. Like, you're about as close to the players as their wives are. I mean, so it's pretty good. Leno played this week, actually. He made his debut. He was obviously he was quite solid. He was solid enough. But I agree. I think Arsenal will give them a hiding, Michael. Don't worry. Yeah. I'm not going to.
Yeah, no, I agree.
I think Arsenal might go Hulk Hogan in the 90s on them.
Yeah, I agree on that as well. And I talk about that opening day fixture against Liverpool and how impressive they were, but Liverpool haven't been impressive, so maybe that was a bit of a false.
I remember we were sat on here reassuring Liverpool fans. First game of the season, you can't really read much into it, and maybe it was an omen. You know what I mean? Maybe Liverpool are cooked.
Maybe.
Well, then we go on to Pom's Ponder before we give you our predictions for this week. And it's something a bit different this week.
It doesn't hurt me. Do you want to feel how it feels? Do you want to know?
Well, something that hasn't happened since 2010. Do you know what I mean? The year that had Oh My God by Usher as the leading song in #1. Remember that? Californian Girls? Katy Perry, that was there as well. 2010. I was, 12 years younger. Rangers have finally made the promised land. The Holy Grail. The Holy Grail. And pretty much like Britain has done, it went into Europe and it fucking took what it wanted. Big 1-0 against PSV. Tough group. We got Liverpool, we got Napoli, and we got Ajax in there, but a very good away day. Any Bears out there? What an away day. What an away day. That is Ajax. Can you imagine going to Amsterdam for an away day? But Rangers are well in it. Thank you very much, Mrs. Zoe. Huge accomplishment. And I can't wait. European football.
I'm very excited for you. I'm very excited for you, Pommy. Look, last season we had some fun with West Ham and Rangers both being in the Europa League. We followed each other, and the West Ham fell over at the second last hurdle. That would have been a great final between between the two of us. So I couldn't be happier to see you guys in the Champions League. But European football, I mean, it's what it's about. We love the Premier League, but if you can support a team, and I know we've got obviously Arsenal supporters and all that in our chat, but supporting a team to play European football, who will be an underdog most weeks, that's what it's all about. That is world football in its purest form. So I'm so happy for you, man. It's brilliant,
mate. And mate, it's good. It's never Old Firm has never happened in the Champions. Can you imagine a knockout?
Stop it.
Dare to dream. Dare to dream. Obviously, Calvin Bassey returns, but also the big news that's come out of this today. And I've had to Google this, but it has now officially been confirmed by various sources that the last team standing with an offer on the table for loan for Cristiano Ronaldo. Imagine CR7 of fucking Ibrox.
Stop it. You reckon? What you reckon? Oh, man. That'd be brilliant.
People there. It would not surprise me if they did it. It would not surprise me if he accepts we can find his wages, because people forget Rangers have got some very, very rich people that back them. So go back to the days of Gaza, go back to the days of Laudrup, who was one of the world's top footballers. When Laudrup came to us, he was one of the best. He was financed exteriorly from the club by private investment. So wouldn't surprise me, but do you know what I mean? Marseille have officially pulled out, which leaves us, and I believe it's Maccabi Haifa, the Israeli team. No way he goes there.
Nah.
I mean, imagine Ronaldo. I want to see Ronaldo versus Dunfermline on a cold, rainy day.
Get it done. Get it done.
Mate,
I love
so you
it.
never know. But there it is, my boys in the Champions League.
Beautiful.
Do you know what I mean? And honestly,
Beautiful.
both of the Laudrup brothers, do you know what I mean, were sensational. But like Bryon, soft spot. He would be my new Bryon Laudrup, to be honest. Do you know what I mean? He would be my new Bryon Laudrup. If he came, I would be mega in love with Bryon. He would be my new Bryon. We'd call him CR Bryon. I mean, in honor of him. But yeah, but that is my little humble glow. It's cheered me up. I've forgotten all about Carlton now. Champions League, baby.
I'm glad. I'm very happy for you. Very happy for you.
Well, you're in Europe as well. So there you
are. Yeah. Well, look, we take what we can get, but very excited. Big win this morning. So happy days.
Mate, best thing about being in Europe as well, being in this country, means you're guaranteed to be tired twice a week for work.
Exactly right. And if anyone knows us pretty well, we don't mind being tired for work.
I think we spend the next 9 months pretty much just stealing a wage. Do you know what I mean? We invoke our inner Sam Kerridge.
Yeah.
Just picking up a paycheck.
Yeah. Love it.
But get on to previewing the week ahead.
It doesn't hurt me. Do you want to feel how it feels? Do you want to know?
We got some absolute great games this week as well.
Monster games.
Great one. We probably see the debut of a guy that is pretty good, Casemiro, to start off with. Expected to make his debut for Man United as they go all the way down to the wonderful part of the world, Southampton. What do we think of this one, Fazz?
United will get it done. They've got to get it done. After beating Liverpool, you can't go and get a shit result against Southampton. I think the players will start to believe, and I think United 3-0.
Yeah, I think we'll still concede. I think it'll be 3-1, but you know what I mean, I'm hoping 3-1 Joe Aribo scores. Oh, my boy, I've got to give a bit of Rangers love to him. Aribo score every game. That'd be good. And then we go to some tasty fixtures Sunday night, but we start off with Brentford, Everton. Now, this could be a really interesting one purely for that how bad Everton are, because this is the game that Everton really need a result here, don't they?
They do, and they're not going to get it. Brentford 4-0.
Mate.
Yep. I think Brentford play beautiful football. They're attacking football. They score goals. And Everton don't offer a yelp. So Brentford 4-0.
Mate, I think Brentford will win that one 3-0. I think it will be a big one, but I'm looking forward to this one's one that really excites me. Brighton Hove Albion versus Leeds. Leeds have really come out of the blocks well and buoyed by last week. And they're playing a side that's just, I think no one's talking about Brighton, but they're just quietly going about their business. I thought they were very assured last week versus you. They haven't seemed too affected by all their big outs.
No.
Should be a good game.
Should be. I've got Brighton winning, and I reckon it's going to be a classic. I'm going to say Brighton 3-2. I just don't trust Leeds. They can't defend to save themselves. I know you'll get in, clean sheet, but Chelsea are garbage. They can't defend to save themselves. I think Brighton 3-2.
I think this is going to be 1-1. I think they're going to kill each other out of the game. I think this might be one of them ones where I think Leeds at home are a little bit of a different fish. Leeds away. I think Leeds away, they do defend a little bit more because I don't think they haven't got as many Yorkshire people screaming at them. So makes sense. All right. Then we've got Chelsea Leicester, which is turning out to be a relegation battle, isn't it? The form.
Yeah, look, with no confidence at all, I'm going to say Chelsea 1-0 because I think Leicester are in a world of hurt, but I think Chelsea might just have enough to get over the line.
I think this is going to be one of them typical games where people are questioning Tuchel, and he brings in one of them 2-0ers.
Yeah.
It buys him 3 weeks while everyone's like, clean sheet last week, though, against a dangerous Leicester. I think it'll be 2-0 Chelsea. But then we go to the one that we're all excited about seeing, Liverpool-Bournemouth. And could Bournemouth do the unthinkable?
No, I don't think they will. I think this is going to be a game. I've just written it down here, just a few of my notes. I think this will be where Liverpool wake up and their season starts. I think they'll get a 3-0 over Bournemouth.
Going to be an interesting one, but I do think Liverpool will come out of the blocks hard. I'm with you. I think this will be 3-0 as well. I think this is... I'd be very surprised if Bournemouth can hold Liverpool. Very surprised, because I just look at that back line and I'm pretty sure the guys who deliver my mail are more competent. So let's put it that way. But this one, after the Newcastle game, I think is very exciting. City Palace. Palace are really playing a positive brand of football and giving it a go. What a time to play. What a time to play City after watching that Newcastle game, because I think Palace will give it a go.
Yes, I think they will, and that's why I've got City winning 3-2 in another thriller. I think Palace will give it a go. I think they'll score, but I just think City at home will have enough to get over the top.
I think it'll be... I think I'm going to go say 3-0. I think City will be back into it, but I don't think it'll be as easy as a 3-0. I think it'll be one of them
I know what you mean,
very late City charges where it just becomes too much. But
like they score in like the 60th, 70th, 80th minute for the 3-0.
And then the floodgates open like they do. You know what I mean? The last 10.
I like it.
And then we got Arsenal Fulham. This one on paper, on form, is probably Arsenal's first real challenge.
Juicy. Look, I mean, I know I spent my time praising Fulham. I think Arsenal will get this done 3-1. I just think they're a different gravy at the moment, Arsenal.
Yeah, I think too good, too strong. I think it'll be 2-0.
Oof.
I think it'll be 2-0. I think Arsenal I think this will be a professional Arsenal performance. A professional Arsenal performance that puts it to bed. And this is the exciting one, isn't it?
Oh.
Villa versus West Ham.
Yes. I think this will be the moment. Make or break. And I'm going to back Moyes in. And I'm going to say that West Ham are going to come out, Jared Bowen brace, beat Villa 3-1, and really say, we're here.
Well, you've won the last 4, so you know how to beat them.
Yeah, and I don't rate Villa that high, so it's not really going to be that much of a statement win. But I think West Ham will they have to. I'm tipping West Ham because they have to win. Like they can't lose.
I hate to say it, you'll hate me, and
Yeah.
and Dazzle will hate me in the chat as well because we know I've got a bit of love for Gerrard.
Yeah.
But I reckon this has got Gerrard 1-0 written all over it. Villa early goal, and they just fucking throw 22 people behind the ball.
Yeah, that's a very real possibility.
They throw all 11 men in the back half and they flood it and they make it hard.
Yeah,
My
very
only
real
question
possibility.
marks about you guys is you create a lot of chances, but they're half chances, and I just feel
we've got our finishing is terrible. So
you know what I mean.
Start Scamacca, for God's sake, Moyes. Anyway,
hopefully the start Scamacca for you. But then we've got Newcastle Wolves, and these are 2 really intriguing sides this year. Both sides have had probably polar opposites. You've got the 3 wins, the last 3 of the 5 Newcastle have won. Do you know what I mean? 3 losses and 2 draws at the other end of the spectrum. And this is a game that Newcastle will fancy this because, do you know what I mean? They've got a good away record against these boys. They genuinely get a draw at worst. So they're a lot better now than then.
It's a tasty game. Another real tasty game. They had a really good result, Newcastle, against City. I think Wolves are a team that no one's really talking about, and I think they're flying under the radar a little bit as far as poorly goes, because you think obviously losing to Tottenham, which was a tough loss, drawing to Fulham, and then the opening day losing to Leeds, they've kind of really gone under the radar. I'm tipping Newcastle 2-1 away, and I think people will start. I think you'll start seeing a little bit more Wolves talk as far as, hang on a minute, why have we let this team get off pretty scot-free early on in the season?
Bit of a sneak preview to Fazz's Fury next week. I like it. I like it.
Mate, I've got the bell for everyone.
I think Newcastle will win this one 2-0. I think exactly like you. I think it might make people wake up and go, Jesus, Wolves are shit. So then we finish with probably the surprise packet of the year. Do you know what I mean? You've got 10th place Spurs, 1-1 drawn, 1 lost, 1, and they go up against, Forest. You go up against Spurs, who were 4th. Do you know what I mean? Flying, great start to the season from Spurs.
Yes.
Can Forest keep that little sneaky backline going, or will Spurs open them up?
No, I think this is going to be the game that, and it pains me to say as a West Ham fan, but this is going to be the game that does 2 things. It'll show the world that Forest are a bit of a false economy at the moment, and I think it'll show exactly how good Tottenham are. I'm tipping Tottenham 4-0. I think Forest will really get shown up here.
You know what's really interesting as well, and it makes me feel wild. This is the first time these 2 sides have met in the 21st century.
Wow.
You know what I mean? For 2 sides that were staples for a young kid in the 90s, in the top flight and beyond, it's balmy. But I do think it's way too much too soon. I think that's far too well drilled. Our young Spurs, and I think Spurs will do a job. I think 3-0. I think Gox is right.
Yeah. Nah, good call.
Well, that's it. That is it for this week. You know what I mean? I hope you've enjoyed it. We've enjoyed our cheeky 9th beers.
Yeah, there they are.
Yeah, we talked a bit about the round ball, but until next time, everyone, stay safe. Much love.
Be
See
good.
you next week.
See yous.